Thank you all for joining. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful summit with so many great speakers and panels and exciting topics. My name is Shahidul Mannan. I am the head of data engineering and innovation at Mass General Brigham. And in my capacity, I am focused on innovation with data and building out next generation data platform in cloud and building out advanced analytics driven products and services across Mass General. And those of you who are not familiar, Mass General is the largest healthcare system in New England, Boston, Massachusetts, headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts, and the major research hospitals with Harvard and MIT, that is MGH and BWH, are under this system, about 16 plus hospitals. So today we have an exciting topic to cover. It's cloud-driven analytics for transformation and innovation. And I'll go over a little bit with how and what are the rationales for a more cloud-driven analytics. What is the state of things in the industry that we are seeing as analytics practitioner for a long time, pretty much all through my career, and then also how we are applying it or building these capabilities using cloud's power at Mass General Brigham. And if time permits, we'll go over a couple of use cases, and I want to share as a whole what our learning has been through this journey and what our strategy has been and how it has been effective, what we could offer from our learning to you all. So let's get started. I think it's nothing new for everyone here, is that there's a digital data explosion that's been going on for decades now, and it's just keep increasing over the decades. As you see from Google's survey and estimation, the digital interactions have tripled in the last decade, and it's going to be almost 8 times more in the next 5 years. Now, digital interaction means as we use our apps on a phone or a web browser or through smart IoT devices, having our thermostats or automated driven car that's coming up, all these combined, how many times we interact with the digital world in our lives? Many, many times, as you all can imagine. So as it goes even more and more over the years, that also means the data footprint is going to increase. And that's what we are seeing across the industries. So with all these digital interactions and footprints, now almost 7 billion people across the globe, pretty much all men, women, children are connected to, in some ways or other, to the digital ecosystem. And that also includes 30 billion plus devices and leading to zettabytes of data. Over 50 zettabytes was predicted for last year. Actually, this was dated, but it predicted to be even more, over 150 zettabytes in the next 5 years. And that is why taking advantage of and managing this data to a business or enterprise to their advantage is so critical. And yet we are seeing that almost 20% of this major company CEOs are still not sure what their digital strategy is going to be. And the ones that have adopted digital strategy and transformation, it is predicted that 60% of them are actually feeling that they are behind. So all in all, it's a difficult journey. And overall, the state of this big data, digital interaction, and then taking advantage of that in a company's transformative journey overall is pretty challenging. There's data explosion that we talked about. There's variety of data. All we know the 3 V's, and now even increasing the volume, variety, and veracity of data that we are seeing, both structured and unstructured space. How do we integrate it? How do we make it meaningful? And how do we take advantage of it to make decisions or build insights or build predictive and prescriptive analytics out of it? And then we have been traditionally doing things on-prem, even on the big data world. When we started with advanced analytics, as we got more power with the various open source and big data technologies, Hadoop starting with it, and the capacity of high processing CPUs, we have started the journey on-prem, but scaling it up is still a challenge. Every time as I mentioned, the data is growing. Every time we want to scale up our on-prem environment, from purchase order or even from budgeting to actually getting something rack stacked and then available, is a long journey. So it's not flexible enough for innovation. The technology challenge changes also plays a role. As exciting as the technology world is looking like, every month there are new products, or every day, I should say, that's coming up in various uh, areas of technology, new apps, new databases, new modeling tools, and whatnot. It's hard to keep up with that on-prem environment because, again, you have to go through so much of management of building that capability or setting up the new technology. It is cumbersome. And overall talent shortage is across the board, especially in the data analytics world. But across those, that's why business is looking at building out their data analytics strategy, and certainly cloud is a big enabler. I'll go over that rationale, as we all know, just to level set. The key drivers for business to adopt to this and moving forward with the data analytics journey is that uh, enterprises are looking for new products and new services that are data driven, more innovation. As we get more and more real-time technology and processing-wise capabilities, we want to look at more prescriptive data analytics that can drive action based on data and predictability. We want to lower our operations cost. We want to increase our revenue and market share through understanding our business, understanding our customers, through analyzing our product performance, and uh, building new market opportunities. And the big part, as we have been practicing for a while, but now with big data and data science, it's becoming more and more uh, competitive power, is to understand the customer, understand their behavior, and accordingly building out recommendation engines to recommend new products or recommend new actions to help acquire a customer or retain a customer. And then overall risk, security, governance, all those are better managed with data analytics, insights, and predictability. We can understand the anomaly in our network system and most likely predict certain type of attack or vulnerability. So all these combined, business, and in today's world, we are excited to go for data analytics, and we'll show how and why we are doing it on cloud. And let's also remember there are complex new architecture patterns that are evolving as we solve more and more complex and cutting edge data analytics applications. There's Lambda architecture. I won't go over the Greek alphabet soup, but there's real-time Lambda architecture, which is real-time batch integration. There's Kappa architecture, IoT-driven, data-driven architecture. We have the traditional batch processing to build our data warehouse or master data, and we have real-time processing to build more action now through insights or predictive power. All these combined, all the data analytics world is becoming more and more exciting, but more and more complex. And that's why we need the power of the cloud. So the advantage of cloud, as we all have experienced, or those of you who are in journey are looking at, is that we can react fast and we can build more time to market, reduce time to market for our new projects and prototypes, because it's managed service, it's available on demand. So the productivity of the IT organization is also going up because now they don't have to spend hours of their day in managing and maintaining hardware in the data centers. And certainly it can support new business initiatives quickly and introduce new products with cutting edge technologies that I was talking about, which wouldn't have been possible without the power of the cloud, more AI and ML driven, IoT driven data analytics and products, and cost savings overarching the total cost of ownership is much more manageable. It's operational cost versus capex. Uh, Going at the days where you have to have tens of millions of dollars of capex for any new major transformative program. Now, the cost is coming on the OpEx side, but it's much more palatable in many ways, and there's a lot of cost savings opportunity to cost optimize. And you get new technology as they come up. If there's a new release this morning, you get it right away. Scalability certainly is a big one that I started with, that as we grow with the data explosion, as we have more processing power needed for artificial intelligence driven applications, on-prem data centers cannot keep up with that scalability on demand, whereas the cloud certainly is a big and the biggest selling point, I think, big way to manage it better and improved availability with the data centers of the cloud providers across the globe. And that is why we see a major trend of moving towards cloud across the industries. Forrester research shows that 40% are planning to move towards cloud over the next couple of years. And that journey actually started 5 years ago, and it's still trending higher, I'd say. And the outcomes of cloud are also very highly satisfying. Through the surveys, Gartner found that most of the IT modernization, efficiency, and now focus on innovation is driven by cloud. And the outcome of a cloud transformation has hit the marks, if not exceeded them. And that's why at Mass General, now I'll spend a few more minutes on how we are doing it at Mass General, but that's why at Mass General, when we started our data and digitization journey a couple of years ago, we focused heavily on the cloud. And our main focus of this digitization journey, just to level set, is to help our enterprise, our healthcare system, become more innovative, more data driven, to improve patient care, to improve our research and development in healthcare, in diagnostics and treatment, and improve our operations, not only from cost efficiency, but also enable our healthcare providers with new tools so they can perform and serve better. And a big part of this digitization journey is our data lake vision, where instead of having our legacy siloed data stores based on structured data world mostly, and then we have some big data on-prem installation as well, or data assets as well, moving more towards a comprehensive data ecosystem where we see the lake at the center of it as the storage for all structured and unstructured data, where we are going to maintain it with high quality data governance, and where we can have data sources beyond the traditional structured clinical data, including more unstructured image data, streaming data, or various diagnostics, radiology data all in one place, and then have capability around it so we can provide real-time analytics for operational use cases. And of course, we would need the batch processing now that we are building the data lake to become the single version of truth for all our data assets. This is the place where we're going to bring the high volume and velocity data in one place through batch processing, and then build out our data assets out of it. And something that can allow more building out data as a service and build out our more model and algorithm driven applications in a more efficient way, driven by, again, big data and advanced analytics. And to do all that, we are looking at building it out on cloud. We have adopted Azure and build out these capabilities in a highly scalable, managed, and almost with unlimited compute environment, where we can apply big data and machine learning driven AI very easily. And in a very short, automated way, we can build and release through DevOps. So all these combined, that is how we have been started our journey of building out the next generation transformative data ecosystem and enable our data scientists and our data science-driven applications to run off of it. And we are also building out more and more experimentation capability for our data scientists. In our large ecosystem, there are various satellites of data science groups. And how do we provide them that sandbox where they can fail fast, they can bring their data or play with the data, play with an idea, and build the next cool uh, data science driven capability. So that's why we're building more like what we call ponds across the lake, where we are enabling the data scientists, providing them all the tools to fail fast and small and innovate on this environment. And that's again the power of cloud, because we can spin up, spin down new environments for them, provide them all the necessary tools and technologies that's needed to experiment. And we call them self-service analytics environments. And this is a key part in data democratization, so that innovation can happen, not only in a central R&D place, but across the enterprise, and also enable everyone to become more and more data-driven. A quick look at our environment and architecture. The key message here is that, as you can see, with that variety of architecture patterns that I mentioned earlier, we need a very complex data and analytics ecosystem. And as you can see, it involves so many variety of technologies, so many variety of interfaces and flows. It's only as flexibly as we do it, because it also changes use case by use case. It's only achievable in a cloud environment, again, because of the advantage of flexibility, scalability, and uh, having new cutting edge technology at the tip of your finger when you need it. Brief look at our cloud-driven analytics journey. Essentially, we are looking at, as I mentioned, consolidating all data from across our ecosystem and from our vendors and other sources, and build the foundation first. Then we are looking at, now we are in phase two actually, providing more analytics as a service, building out data scientists, experimentation environments, and looking at high value use cases, building the entire ecosystem from soup to nuts into EDW and master data, and have a unified analytical platform that's flexible and available for everyone. And soon we are going to start looking at more mission critical, real-time IoT capable data applications, data science applications that's flexible and scalable, and build out data and analytics as a service in the coming days. And the goal again, to build our enterprise in our journey to become more data and analytics driven. Now it
we
does
have two
come
questions. With... I'm so sorry to interrupt you. There are two minutes we have, but questions here we have from Enrica. If you could probably consider that. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Musin, where can I see it?
On the chat area, which is the role of ontology's definition within data lake vision, if any?
I'm sorry,
Yeah, just click the chat and totally go down.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not able to see the chat. Can you repeat the question?
No problem. Which is the role of ontology's definition within data lake vision?
Excellent question. And actually, ontology, data governance, and data quality is a big part in the data lake vision, which is that we don't want a data dump having the capability of building all high volume and huge amount of data. We want to make sense of the data. So what we are doing is also building out data catalog as we bring new data. And we are building out data lineage, so you can understand, looking at a data, first you want to understand what the data is. So the data catalog will provide that ontology and that definition. Then you want to know, is this a reliable data? So we're going to provide you the whole traceability of where that data came, how did it transform, and how and what are you looking at. And on top of that, we are also actually adding our data profiling and data quality outcomes. So you can also look at it and say, as per our measures that we are going to do continuously, what the quality of that data looks like. And behind the scene, we will also look at that quality and we will continuously improve that so that the quality meets the bar, because your analytics is as good as your data. So that's why ontology, building out catalog, and actually building out a governance around data lake is very critical, and that's how we have approached it. Any other question?
No, you can just still continue. Yes, the Smriti is not yet here, so we can steal some time from her.
Okay, thank you. So I won't drain this too much. As you can all imagine, there are various challenges of getting data in the cloud. There's control and security related issues that you have to handle, compliance, your network data coming back and forth from your data center into the cloud, and going into the cloud. So all these you need to manage more efficiently. And that's why we have actually identified the risks early on and started building more mitigation factors. But overall, the cloud journey, what the perceived risks are that you definitely will have some resistance across, because it's a huge paradigm shift from how we have been using on-prem technologies now moving into the cloud. So you need executive sponsorship. That's a key thing. For skills, you have to upskill, you have to mix your skill with consultants and train your talent pool with the new skill set. And you have to be very cautious about selecting the right cloud provider who can be your partner for a long time and also help you manage the risk of not getting stuck with one vendor. So the key is that identify the risks, build a mitigation strategy, and work towards it. So I wanted to share one use case, given the time, is that during COVID, we actually have seen a huge benefit going into cloud-driven analytics, again, for the flexibility and speed of innovation that we've been talking about. So we had, as we are all experiencing this horrible pandemic, a big need of keeping an eye on our bed usage and predict the surge and see how our beds, and this is just one example, but the entire supply chain is going to meet that demand. And quickly we spun up a real-time analytics around it using this data lake and advanced analytics driven dashboard and predictability. And we also put in to predict the surge of the bed capacities, and actually led to some of the field hospitals coming out of the insights here so we can better manage the pandemic. And just on the conclusion, so our successful cloud analytics transformation, we're still on the journey, but we've been very successful with this so far and wanted to share some of the learnings out of it. So the first one is, of course, you want to understand what your core requirements are to be successful, and that digitization to make visibly successful across the enterprise, and build your cloud strategy around it. You want to build your talent pool properly so you can have the right skills that can help you on this journey. And another key item is look for incremental value. As we are building our foundation, we look for high value use cases so we can also demonstrate the value. So gone are the days, as we all know, that you do something for 2-3 years and then you have a big bang. So, and that is not very productive for an enterprise. So what we're doing is, as we are building the foundation, we're identifying high value use cases and immediately showing results every 3 months with new release, or 3 to 6 months. And then make sure the deployment is across the organization and there's transparency, consistency, because adoption is a big part. Not only adoption by the technologies, but more importantly, adoption by the users and by the business. And a lot of it is transformative for processes. So you want to make sure everyone is understanding what this means, what the impact is, and how the benefit and value can improve our mission. And last but not the least, focus on the new processes, because it's a new paradigm. You cannot and should not be using the same processes that has been in place for on-prem driven various technology management or innovation management. This is a whole new world. Not only it's at the intersection of big data, data science, IoT, cloud, all these combined. So to make the most out of this powerful combination of technologies and innovation capabilities, you want to build new processes that are supported. So, for example, we have completely opted towards automated DevOps for our releases, so we can do more frequent releases, of course, managing the risk and everything. But all in all, these are the key areas you want to focus on to build a successful cloud analytics transformation and make the most value out of it for your enterprise. I hope that was helpful. If there's any other question, I can address it now, or feel free to connect me, and later on I can also chat and provide the answers.
Thanks a lot. Waiting for questions. Let's see if the other participants would like to raise hand to ask question or type. We have time for questions.